We'd request you to take your seat in the hall. And ladies and gentlemen, dear delegates, we have a very wonderful session now, Women in Tech, celebrating strength and resilience. And we are just going to do the setup, so we request you to kindly bear with us just for a couple of minutes.
स्लाइड चेंजर लगेगी।
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure you're surprised to see me. Our MC's had a slight bit of an emergency, so she had to step out. But we have a very, very interesting panel waiting for you. Please put your hands together for our Women in Tech panel celebrating strength and resilience. I'd like to call up the panelists on stage. Charu Bhargava, VP IT, Sheila Foam. Please put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen. Komal Vora, CISO, Equifax Credit Information Private Limited. Pradnya Manwar, Senior Director IT, Sutherland Finance. Lisa Sim, VP Marketing, APAC and Japan Palo Alto Networks. And our moderator, Professor Sana Karagani. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. And if I could request some of the gentlemen sitting at the back to occupy the tables in front, this is a session that you will definitely not want to miss. Over to you, ladies.
Thank you very much. So I'm impersonating Miss Sangeeta Singh, so I apologize. My name is actually Sana Karagani, and welcome to the panel of celebrating strength and resilience. I have with me Charu Bhargava, who is the VP at IT VP at Sheila Foam. Komal Vora, who's the CISO at Equifax Credit Information. Pradnya Manwar, who's Senior Director of IT at Sutherland Finance. And we have Lisa Sim, who's the VP of Marketing in Asia Pac and Japan for Palo Alto Networks. I am going to, other than massively butchering your names, which I apologize for, I want to massively welcome you to the stage today. It's an absolute pleasure to share the stage with such an esteemed set of established women and accomplished women in technology. I know it hasn't been easy to get to where you are, and I personally want to thank you for being amazing role models for the women who are out there watching. Because it's always nice to see up on stage somebody that you can aspire to be, who looks a bit more like you than who you normally see up on stage. So from me, thank you. What I wanted to do was to give each of you a chance to actually introduce yourself, because no matter what you write down on paper, it's not going to be as good as if you can say it yourself. So I wonder if we can go down the line and have each of you introduce yourself, tell me a little bit about what you're doing right now in your current role, and also let me know what strength and resilience has gotten you to where you are today.
Good afternoon, everyone, and it's always a pleasure to be around women. To introduce myself, I would like to just tell you about who I am, what I do. So I have been working in IT from 23 years now. Started as a management trainee in the organization, and in the same organization, I grew up the ladder. Growing in the same organization is sometimes really challenging, and sometimes I would say also a bit comfortable, because you know what kind of people you are working with. It is very easy when you are there on the top to start ignoring what challenges you faced. But when you really sit back and look at things, you really find that sometimes you basically became very resilient, ignored a lot of things. You have to really push hard. Not only push hard, but also accept criticism, accept it very positively that time, and reply back, not with aggression, but with your efforts. Because generally, when you are growing up the ladder, people does not want to accept you, and especially when you are a woman. And when you are around all men. So when I joined the organization, I was, I think, 1 or 2 women who were actually into, I would say, frontline jobs. Otherwise, they were all with me, either secretaries or at the reception, or few in accounts. Not in fact, few, just 2 in accounts. Growing into all men environment becomes sometimes very difficult. You actually have to show a lot of attributes. Sometimes emotionally you get broken up. Sometimes you have to take that as a strength. Sometimes just be quiet and wait for the right time, so that you basically can prove that you can also coexist into that environment. So a lot of things does happen. And I really take care now of the IT front of the organization. The organization is almost 4,000 crores or a million, listed on the stock exchange. We have presence in India, Australia, and Spain, so we are globally present. And as a role, I take care of technology enablement across the organization. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Charu. Kamal, same question for you, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. Okay. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to come on the dais and talk and share our thoughts and experiences. I work with Equifax Credit Information Private Limited as a CISO. So we can say it's a cyber defender profile, all right? And I have 24 years plus experience. So if I start my career journey, I started as a development, as a developer, then business analyst, then into IT administration in my journey, then entered into consulting, implementation security, products, then into IS audit, that is governance role, and then into INFOSEC. So currently I'm into INFOSEC. So that's my basic journey. So I have taken a full round of, whole profiles, and I love challenging roles. So I always try to look out for new things and, try to add on to my experience as well as to give back to my organizations as a value add. That's what, keeps me going. And I never give up. Anything which comes my way, I just take it as a challenge, accept it, do my research, prepare myself, give alternate solutions during difficult times, and just go on. And I always also believe in, all is well and everything will be well. So by taking a positive attitude, I just go ahead and try to, conquer the challenges which I come across. That's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Pragya.
Hello everyone. Good evening. My name is Pradnya Manwar and I work for Sutherland as a senior director. I take care of global cybersecurity. So to start with my career, I was a customer support engineer. So I used to carry a toolkit and going around the field with the banks and fixing their computers, networks, whatever come on my way. So I actually learned long way by doing things which is newly, be it a operating system, be it a new network technology. So keep learning is my motive, So if you are into technology, so every day new things comes up. So you have to keep yourself updated. So learning and doing new things is my passion. Talking about my start of the career, when I used to visit organization to fix their computer network servers, I used to see female coming, surrounding me. This female is doing, going into the table, pulling the CPU, opening that CPU and fixing the hard drives or whatever. All that thing, whatever any male engineer could have done or could have been doing it. And they used to ask me, what did you do? What did you learn? What education you have done? And I have to tell them that, okay, this is, I have done computer engineering and I have done a particular course, that time MCSE was the full in demand. And they used to get very excited and they used to tell me that, okay, we will also have our children to go through this path, So that was, I used to feel very nice. Okay, people are liking that female is coming and fixing their systems, So yeah, and that's how my journey started, and now I'm at leadership role here, but still my technical capabilities are getting questioned. So that is why I'm saying, keep learning and your action speaks louder than word. That is what I will convey to you guys. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. As Sana mentioned, my name's Lisa Sim, and I'm the Vice President of Marketing at Palo Alto Networks for Japan and Asia Pacific. And it's a pleasure to be here. India is one of my favorite countries. I love the food here, and I have literally eaten my way from Bangalore through to Delhi and now Calcutta. And it's my first time in Calcutta, and it's beautiful here. So thank you for having me. I come from a very small country called New Zealand, and that sailing segment that we saw before with that really inspiring gentleman was very, very moving for me. We have the highest, I think, number of yachts per capita anywhere on the planet, so I felt like I was right at home watching that. In terms of my career, I actually started out in Japan about 30 years ago, and I've been in technology my whole career. When I started, there was a ratio of about 1 female to 75 males in technology. So we've come quite some way, actually. But I have really always enjoyed the fast pace and the innovation in the organisations, and it's been wonderful for me to work for a number of technology companies. I have to say, when we think about strength and resilience, I have this superpower that has been a huge part to my success in my career, and that's really that I'm no good at doing my day job. I'm always sticking my nose in the business of the business, and I'm always trying to understand what are the problems we're trying to solve, or the opportunities we're trying to lock as a business, and how can I get involved in that. So when I was quite young, this is showing my age, but cloud was just coming out, and our organisation was trying to understand how we could actually internalise it and commercialise it. And I heard there was a steering group, and I really wanted to be a part of it. And I walked in there, and they said, well, what are you doing here? And I said, look, I'm really good at communications, I'm very good at writing business cases, and I'm very good at finding money. And they said, okay, take a seat. Now, I didn't know at that point that I was good at any of that, but I had to find out if I was, and that's exactly what I went and did. So I think sometimes you've got to be really brave and be ready to fail, and then go for it. So that was my learning. Thanks.
Thank you. It's amazing to hear the stories, right? If I kind of play back some of the themes I heard, which is push hard, accept criticism, but speak up for yourself, a positive attitude towards everything that you do, keep ahead of the game, keep learning throughout your entire career, and get involved. Be brave. And it doesn't matter if you tried it, jump in with both feet. I mean, it's incredibly inspirational to hear, and the themes are so similar across the stories that you've told. I wonder if we go down again with my second question, and Kamal, perhaps we can start with you and go up and then come back this way. Can you tell me about what it is that drives you every day? That means you haven't given up, right? So you wake up and you go back to the office and you continue to try and succeed, and you make it through all of the different roles you've had to reach where you are. So what is it? What is it that drives you?
So, as I said, I love to, accept challenges and, whatever comes in my way, and I try learning things and go ahead. But what mostly drives me is, in cybersecurity, how hackers collaborate, right? So, and they collaborate across the globe. So I also like to, collaborate with my team in the organization and try to help, protect or defend my environment. So that is what helps me to, learn new things, because as you all know, now the cyber attacks have increased so much in this year, and in the next year it is predicted. So new technologies come in, and there are challenges which we need to do research and, always try, test things, and then, upgrade ourselves so that we are one step ahead of hackers. So that is what drives me, to come every day to office and find something new, or, some different controls which would help protect my environment. So that helps me drive the show.
Love it. That's super exciting. Padnya.
What drives me? So I like my job. So that's what drives me to go to work. Why? Because the kind of field I'm in, cybersecurity, so every day we come across new challenges, new attacks. So, and then not only new attacks, the insider threats also. So I like that kind of investigation thing, looking into thing and finding out the root cause, what caused that issue, and fixing those. And then, so, and every day you come across new frauds, new cases, new attacks. So that gives you also learning how to ensure that you prevent your organization from these attackers or threat actors or internal insider threats. Even internally you might have come across some frauds happens by the employees, right? So you have to keep watch on them also. So we do monitor everybody globally, internally or externally as well. So that keeps me motivated to do my job.
Brilliant. Lisa, please.
Yeah, I think adding to what Kumal and Pradnya have said, kind of that higher purpose and loving your job is really important to me personally. I'm in cybersecurity. You will have heard many times throughout today about the technology and the technological innovation that we need today, especially around AI and how we need to fight AI with AI. But if you peel it all back, actually, cybersecurity is a very human issue. We're actually talking about people who get impacted every day, whether their bank account is being drained, whether they're being, scammed in some other way, shape, or form. And what gets me out of bed and keeps me highly motivated is actually the fact that we've got to protect our world, and that drove me to found a program called Cyber Safe Kids. And we have that running throughout the Asia Pacific region, where we help support communities and schools to teach the digital life skills that our children need to protect themselves And that keeps me very, very grounded, actually, especially when it's a hard day. Thanks.
Terry, please.
So to answer this question, I'll just ask a question that is what takes you back home? And the answer is same, that brings me back to work. When we go home, we feel happy, secure, safe, the environment, the people with whom we really want to love. And same environment we have tried to create in the organization. We get something new to learn. I would say the people around me, I am fortunate enough to have good people around where we get freedom to work with, experiment without any questions. Questions means not wrong decisions, but intentions. So this kind of a culture we are able to create in the organization, which really brings me back each day to experiment with things.
Fantastic. And I might add one for myself. So I don't know how many people have seen the movie Pretty Woman, but there's a point where she goes to go shopping, and she's not dressed very well, and so the shop assistants don't want to help her because they don't think she has any money, she's not going to buy anything. And so she goes shopping somewhere else, but then she goes back into the store, dressed up beautifully in her new clothes, and she's got all sorts of bags. Now everybody wants to help her. And she says, big mistake, huge. And that is my driving moment, because I love when I walk into a room and people expect you not to be technical or not to know what you're talking about, and then you get a chance to have that moment where you go, big mistake, huge. That drives me. It's just a little fun thing I do on the side. Right, so back to you lot. Right, can you guys tell me a little bit about your war stories, right? So everybody likes to hear, what are some of the challenges that you've actually overcome? So what are things that have happened where you've had to rely on your strength and resilience to bring a group along with you, or to affect change that perhaps the rest of the organization didn't see? But just as an example, you can go anywhere with this. And who have we not started? Would you like to start, Pradnya? Yes, please.
So, you want? So this is about, I joining one of the organization where people were not really aware about why Pradnya was hired for what, what role she is into. It was, I was supposed to lead a SOC, and that organization was not aware about Security Operations Center. What does it mean? And they were questioning why she is there. We don't understand what she is doing. And I was given a project to build a team and ensure that all the devices or systems in the organization getting monitored properly. But then nobody was aware about this role at all. And that was new thing for them as well, because they had the tool just for a PCI compliance related thing. So one fine day we had some situation where we saw some malware spreading across the organization, and my team was detecting those through the alert, 24/7, and giving instructions to the IT and network team that, okay, this is the system which is infected, you need to isolate. And that's how we could able to minimize the business impact. Hardly 3% of systems got infected because of that worm. And that's how entire organization got to know, okay, this is Pradnya and Pradnya's team who is doing this job and protecting our business. So
that was your Pretty Woman moment.
Yeah. So they got to know, okay, what is Pradnya's role and what Pradnya is here for.
Brilliant. Lisa, would you like to go next, please?
Sure. So, look, I think sort of my war story is more of a growth story, actually, but it was at a time where it wasn't as if we were at war, but quite frankly, I think everybody in the world felt like they were in the same place. And it was probably the largest growth moment I've had as a leader in my lifetime, and a very vulnerable moment for me, and that was during the pandemic. You know, I live in a city, Melbourne, where we had 262 days of consecutive lockdown. Well, not consecutive, but combined, it ended up being 262 days. And during that time, I was leading, you know, a very large marketing organisation across the Asia Pacific and Japan region, and that we were heavily hit everywhere, heavily impacted. And it was something that I wasn't prepared for, which was I was adjusting to the idea that our team were going to be working in a new way, so from home. But I wasn't prepared for, I guess, the level of ambiguity and uncertainty that my team would be feeling, and the level of impact, personal impact that would come into play in their work environment. And that was really new, but
Period of time, everyone had to show a little bit of their own issues, or kind of turn over and say, you know, I have personal problems and a personal life as well. And I think as women, we tend to hide that part of our life when we go into work. But it was this transparency we all had to show to be good leaders. It's a great example. Chara, would you like to go next, please?
So we keep facing a lot of challenges where you need to keep proving yourself. But I would like to share it's not just in India. So the biggest, I would say, where I actually experience the kind of resistance people have is outside India. So this is long back, and I was also quite young, very new to the organization. No, I would not say very new, but 5 years into the organization, and we actually acquired a company outside India, and there we were actually changing their 30 years old system, and I was leading that. So it was very difficult for these people abroad to trust and believe that a person just with a 5 years experience into the industry will come and change the system, which they are running from last 30 years, and that's also a homegrown system. The kind of resistance that I've actually faced, and which actually over months I have to explain them that the system can go live without a zero downtime. So they said it will be a business loss and chaos and mismanagement and all negative words that can go with it. But to hold yourself alone into a foreign land where you are new to them, they are new to you, and then keep proving yourself each day that what you are doing and what you will do is for good for everyone without any business loss. You really need to be, I would say, patient, confident. And I would say at that age, if it would have been this, where you have a lot of experience to talk about, the situation would have been different. But just when you are young, you are also impulsive. But you can't show your aggression, you can't show your, I would say, conviction, because they have their own resistance. So taking all this and then proving yourself is like, and doing the work at the same time. It's like sword from everywhere. And you have to stand calm, quiet, and keep proving that what you really want to do and what you will deliver will be beneficial for everyone.
Thank you very much. It is difficult, but you jumped in with both feet. Come up, please.
Yeah. So challenges, though, as I said, we are cyber defenders, so we face every day, and it's on the real-time basis. You know, we try to solve the threats or attacks which happen on our environments. So that is the people think that that is my core competency. So what is that I'm doing a value add? So we have to actually not only do the technical part of it as a cyber defender, but in other areas also. Like if I can give you one example, which was, challenging for me, was I just entered one organization where it was a multinational. So the group company charged as INFOSEC, that is India INFOSEC department, that is myself and my team, with 20 crores, with some kind of categories, which with no explanation, no working papers, no formulas which derived those amounts. So when I saw that, I mean, such a huge amount it is. How can I just approve without seeing the, working papers and all? But in my organization, others were also charged, like technology was charged like that. Same way. There is no explanation, no working papers, nothing. No formula, how they derive, what one-man resources are getting used, how many licenses are getting charged, nothing. No explanation. So technology was getting charged, HR was getting charged, legal was getting charged, but as I had entered new and I cannot just approve like that. So, but the thing is, if I push them back, saying that you need to give me an explanation when I've just entered in an organization, it will be a very setback for the global team, that how can Komal Vora challenge the things which are going on as a process in terms of, chargebacks or accounts of finance, how can you challenge? But I had to do it because I wanted that explanation and wanted to see the return of investment which the group is giving me. If not, then what is the alternates which I can offer to India region? Because as compared to other regions, India region at that time, was not having that much good business. So we actually couldn't afford. So paying 20 crores only in my profile, and others are also there in the line, but they had never challenged because they thought that if they challenge, their performance will be hit, or how people will take group, that is our group subunit, my parent head office charging us. And then pushing it back would be, they would go in the wrong books. But I said, nothing doing, you'll have to explain me and give that explanation and get that thing. And in that interim, when we were doing this for that organization, actually, because of I challenging that, then I gave my return of investment with other different alternatives from India side. We could bring the SOC from the global side to India region. And then I was leading that team, build that team, leading that team, and providing service, as a internal units across my other regions of that group. And, that also, it was a very economical, because as you all know, India as a resource is very cheap, very skillful, very hardworking, and whatever we promise, we deliver. So that is how I took that as a challenge and actually twisted the whole, equation, and that is how we started charging as India. And I am not supposed to, be a business generator. I am a facilitator or a risk profile as an InfoSec. But then that also added to India region as a additional business kind of. Means I'm providing service to my internal units. And in a very economical way, the management appreciated, and that is how I actually could do a value add. And at the end of the day, or at the end of that full project, I was so satisfied that I did my bit. Though it was really challenging because I was taken to task with all my top leaders that how, I'm challenging this equation, whatever they are calculating since 14 years. And now I just came 6 months and then she's challenging. But I follow my heart. If it is wrong, it is wrong. You give me explanation, I will accept it. And I will, if you give me facts and figures, I would obey and respect your thing and I will accept it. But if, things are just bombarded, or, put me on task by saying you have to accept it, or bullied, I don't take it like that. So that is how, it just happened that everything turned on my side and I actually achieved that, and it was my biggest experience of my career where this was done. So management appreciated and I was like, wow, what a achievement I did. So I do my self-analysis and self-appreciation.
and
also
well deserved
marketing
too. Well deserved.
myself.
I think
so that's what I...
This is an incredible example because actually this isn't about, this isn't a specific female, but this is strength and resilience in a human doing a job, right? And I think that is an incredible example because there were others in the roles, presumably some of them would have been men and none of them had pushed back. So I think, taking this position and believing in yourself enough to push back, I think that's an incredible example. I want to talk about role models and mentors, if I may. So there's a huge amount of research right now that talks about the importance of mentors in the success of anyone in work. So I wonder if I may, Lisa, and we'll start with you and we'll come back down the line. Can you talk about either a mentor at work or personally, or a role model that has been helpful to you in your journey?
Yeah, gosh, I've got a few. I'll talk about one of my mentors who I have really, who's mentored me for more than 20 years. And it really is kind of, he's intertwined with my life, really. And that is the former CEO and chairman of a company that I worked for. I actually got hired for a role, and 3 months later I told him I'm pregnant. And then I went away and had a child, came back, and then told him I was pregnant again, and ended up with 2 children under the age of 2, a brand new mother in a very senior role, a very senior high-pressured role. And at no point did he consider that to be a nuisance. Because many women are often held back, or they get criticised, or people get wary about hiring them if they are about to start a family or they have a young family. But I have never worked so hard in my life like I did for him. My mind was always on how I was going to help him grow this business, even when I was up at 2 o'clock in the morning feeding a baby. Because the loyalty and the sense of self-worth that he gave me has stayed with me for life. The irony, he had no children. He was married, but he didn't have children. So he had no empathy as a father to my situation. But what he saw was he was investing in me, and I was investing in him and the business. And he holds a mirror up to me, and we have the most difficult conversations, and he makes me very uncomfortable. He challenges me a lot, but he does it from a place of commitment to my success, and I'm forever grateful for that, actually. So that's probably around that mentor. Thank you.
Thank you. Such a great story, and also shows the power of management as well as the mentorship side of it. The power of, as a manager, having a manager that supports you creates this feeling of delivery and productivity in your teams, which is incredible. Padnya, would you like to go next, please?
Sure. So at personal level, my mentors and role models are my parents. So they are the one who actually supported me where I am today. And my father was supporting me for anything related to education. He was there for me. So they are the one who are actually role model for me at personal level, and mentor as well. My father was very good supporter. At professional level, so I joined one of the shipping organization where the CIO was very supportive. He was giving me, he was empowering me for anything. Any new projects, anything, he just asked me to do. His motive, this thing was like, what will happen most? You will fail, but you will at least learn from that, right? So go for it. Don't get scared doing any new things. You should do it. You should take a risk. If you don't take a risk, you don't learn, you will not go forward, So, and he was supporting me for my education also. So while working, I was completing my master's as well. So he was very supportive. He used to give me leaves and never ask me to work extra hours. And I'm still in touch with him. He still guide me. He still mentor me. So after 20 years, he still is my mentor.
Amazing. So sometimes we need someone to tell us what we can do that we don't do ourselves. Thank you very much. Come on, please.
So I will share that, my parents have been the most, supportive as mentors, and, because you need, as a female, many supporters. Otherwise, we can't take that journey which we have always been taken, and where we have reached now, because we also have to balance our personal life, where we get married, we have kids, and, that journey where we have to support the small kid and ensure that front also we are the best. Because we always try to, want to put more efforts, or, try to see that, what alternates or what solutions we can get to improve our own environment, or whether it is family side or at professional side. And we want to give the 100% to both the sides, where we cannot, let go anything. Zero tolerance at both the sides. So it's my own target. So that is how I work. But this kind of, passion or to achieve something, from my family side, I got it from my parents, my mother being the most supportive to, take care of my kid and all whenever, because I used to travel a lot in my consulting days. So I used to be, traveling Asia Pacific for, every 15 days. 15 days I used to travel, 15 days at home, and then back again, traveling. So my parents, my husband also supported me very well. My in-laws side also supported. So actually, and I come from a background which is, Jain, which is all businessman, and a female working is, I'm the only one in my age who is the career, at such a lead. So, so it is very difficult to convince everyone, but I could, try discuss with them personally and manage those things and, find my solutions. But in professional side, in my start of my career, I entered into an Indian consulting firm called Aneja Associate. So Mr. Narendra Aneja, though he is not technical, he is a chartered, but he gave me that freedom to explore anything and everything in technology. So when I entered there, I was taken up for my Microsoft 2000 skill set, because they had pitched for some project and where I had to harden those systems and give that project as a consulting. But then as and when we progressed, any technology coming in, any project coming in, as they were internal auditors, so we used to get different kinds of projects. So SAP projects, anything, implementation projects, any security tool, DLP projects. But at that age, we were never exposed or, we were not trained hands-on that. But he had that confidence that you will be able to do it, because I had delivered many projects like that, but I had done research on my own without spending his money from the office. So I used to do the learning from the Google, and my own, salaries I used to spend in that, so that I can, before entering any corporate, while taking the projects, be much more as a value add to give it to the client, so the client appreciates and he knows that he gets that assurance, the client gets the assurance that she'll be able to do it or deliver the same. So that is how I, could give those things and, complete those projects. So I think, he was my mentor in that sense, that he used to always support me and believe in me. So that gave me a freedom and wings which I could fly. Until date, I am only with that base where I do research and just take any challenges which come my way. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. I'm just going to give Charu a chance to answer the question, if that's okay. No, go ahead.
When I started my journey, it was my parents who actually forced me to get into job. So they have been a role model in many sense that we look up to them, that how they struggle, and they don't want their kids to struggle, and especially the daughters. So I lost my father when I was 8, and with 2 sisters, younger one. My mother actually always wanted all 3 of us to work, and my aunt supported her. So because she was also working. So these 2 have been in role model, my aunt and my mother has been role model in starting my career. And I was really fortunate enough that when I started my career, I actually got a fantastic person to work with. So he's the current global CIO. He has been really compassionate, and he has given ample chances, and I would say freedom to me to work. And I really look forward and look upon him for any solution or wherever I am stuck. And you only aspire those from whom you really learn and whom you want to be like, because that keeps you going. And we as team, I would say there are almost 200 people, and I would say there will be rarely anyone who really don't look up to him. So he is not only just, I would say, a mentor for the entire team, but a person who actually everyone inspires to be. Not just because of knowledge, but because of compassionation, I would say empathy that he really shows, and this is what we want to practice.
Wonderful, thank you very much. I think having this group of women on the stage, I wanted to end with literally a 10-second call to action. So we have an audience in front of us. Each one of them can do a thing, okay? A small thing. But we all need to do our part to make a change that we want to see in the world. So can we go down and please have one call to action for the audience to take away? Lisa, do you want to go?
Okay, all I want to say is please go and identify a very young, inspired young woman who really wants to be mentored and take the time to mentor her or connect her with somebody who will.
Thank you.
From me, if you have females employees within your team, so please support them. They just need little push to grow, you know. So they just need that little push and the support from the people around her. So if you give that support, they can do wonders.
So the message for you all is, you know, give space to, you know, women employees also to, you know, share their thoughts, ideas, allow them to speak, try to allow them to give solutions, and try to evaluate from their side also, so that, you know, as a team we all can work together and actually do a value add to the organization. Thank you.
So the only thing that I would like to put forward is we can't have one dish every time in lunch and breakfast. We want diversity in each phase of life. So why not work? So we need to embrace both the genders and give them ample space just to embrace the diversity so that different thoughts to the table can come up.
And may I add mine to this amazing list? We tend to hire people in our own image. So when you go out to hire, make sure you have women on the panel as well, because that will bring a different perspective to the hiring process. And for people who are having trouble attracting more women to a job, you need to put women on the panel to do the interviewing. So with that, a massive, massive thank you, please. A round of applause for this incredible panel. Thank you for having us.
What an inspirational and fantastic panel. Thank you so much. It has been one of the best sessions so far, and I'd like you to just remain on stage while I request Mr. Dhruva Mukherjee, CEO, ABP Group, to come in and felicitate our esteemed guests. I think another round of applause. This panel deserves another round of applause. Especially with the call to action. I think that's something that can be really implemented in each and every organization, correct? A photograph, please, if you all could step forward. Thank you so much. We'd now like to get ready for our next technology keynote. Allow us a couple of minutes to set up the stage. In the meantime, I hope you've had an opportunity to visit all our exhibition booths and follow us on all our social pages. And just to let you know the highlight of this evening today, so we have the CIO Awards in the evening, followed by live musical entertainment. So we are looking forward to seeing you there as well. Ready? Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for our technology keynote speaker, Dr. Alok Nath De, founder, Cyber Physical Systems Chair, AgriNX, GOI, and former CTO and CVP, Samsung. Sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you. And this point. Okay, very good afternoon. So thanks again to ABP INFOCOM for the invite. And here we are talking a lot about resilience, strength, disruption, innovation, sustainability. So I'm going to take all of these into the space of agriculture, and in particular, how agri-tech landscape is evolving. You know, this we will be talking about from my own company's space, what we are doing in the tech crafter. It is in the cyber physical systems. And in particular, one of the vertical is in the agri-tech. So consulting and co-creating with startups and enterprise. But I am also chairing Agrionics program, which is from the government of India's MeitY, the Ministry of Electronics and IT. So this is a program which is anchored in CDAC, Calcutta, but we are also working with about 15 research organizations as well as many startups and enterprises. I'm going to spend this about 18 minutes talking about 3 different areas in the agri-tech space. First of all, let me take it. The first project is into the area of sorry, stuck. Can you change? Okay, so there are 3 thrust areas that I'm going to be talking about. The first one is on the ENAM. This is Electronic National Agricultural Marketplace. This is the first area. So what's happening few years back that we see is the present practice is on manual sampling, inspection, recording of data. From there, the government, Prime Minister himself, decided this ENAM in 2016 to take everything onto the digital platform so that we can have fast operation, non-invasive in some sense. And at the same time, there are about 1,500 mandis across India in different states and UTs, where we can bring in more transparency, better economic returns, and obviously the startups that could also join in terms of commercializations. So what we see there is farmers, brokers, traders. Can we have them all together and can build this platform? If you look into the right side of it, you know, you can see here very simple picture. You have a conveyor platforms where a lot of grains will be flowing through. You have a digital camera, a lot of image processing techniques. We use AI, DNN, CNN, all kinds of things connecting to the cloud where we'll be doing the analysis. You see over there the overall systems whereby image processing, and then you extract those features and it helps in the classifications. What do you decide? Is it pure? Is it discolored, damaged, broken? All of these could be decided. So we have here 5 different kind of platforms, right? This is a prototype. We started quite early in 2022, but 23's picture in the rough form, I wanted to show you the prototype that we had. And this is from ICAR, Pusa, as well as Rajasthan. There are 3 parts of it. As you see, there is a sampling unit, there is a sensor base, and a machine visions. At the end of it, you can see when we do this image extraction and analysis, you could see the pure kind of grains. Then you have weevil. This is the insect that puts a borer into the grains when it is stored somewhere. Then you have damaged, immature, or some kind of foreign particles that is in the grains. We considered about 13 grains. And last year, being the International Year of Millets, we also added sorghum. So this is a selected set of grains. I must say that 6 of these grains are perfectly working. And last week, we have decided to transfer of technology to a startups. And I'm sure next year, you will see them either in the booth or in the panel somewhere into the right kind of product forms. From there, as we move it up, we also kind of decided to do other kind of products. For example, chili. This conveyor belt is much longer, but you can see the pod length. You have something broken, the pods without stalks, the foreign matter, discolored one, the loose seeds of chili. These are currently deployed in Rajasthan as well as in Ranchi. We are testing it out, and hopefully next year again, this would be transferred to another startup. Let me talk about third project, which is associated with it, whereby we are extending it to the vegetables. Why not tomatoes? Tomatoes could be ripe, partially ripe, unripe, damaged from the color. So the whole goal in this segment of the product, whether it is grains, vegetables, fruits, can we do a visual inspections and take it forward and have a great deal between farmers, traders, brokers, and follow the ENAM protocols where the standards have been well defined. So this is my first set of projects that I wanted to highlight. Let me go to the second area, thrust area, which is about the livestock and animals' well-being as well as their impact on the produce on our health. This is the second platform that we have been building. So as you can see, there is a cattle. This is an IoT collar, right? There are many sensors inside, very not so expensive that we have designed. This is connected to gateway and goes into the cloud for various processing. What it does, it measures the vital parameters of the cows and its well-being, right? How good is this health of the cow? Because in the cattle, if one is ill, how can you detect that? And so this is the first step. The second step is also about the body temperature. Is the cow ready for inseminations or other kind of breeding time, pregnancy time? So this could be detected so that this cycle is not missed out and the production of calf can be done. So farmers and producers, they are well appreciative of this kind of project. This also takes it to the next level of our activities, which is in terms of the architecture. I can show it. Those who are here, developers, you can see that there is a front-end development, which is with the React.js, and we have Node.js web server. That's at the back end. We are using 2 different databases, InfluxDB as well as Mongoose, and Express web platform that we have built is the foundation for this particular project. So when you do this cattle, we also found out there is one particular disease called mastitis. It is a very painful disease for the cow, but it can be early detected and cured, or at least tracked. So therefore, can we do that? And that's a project that we are currently doing. Interestingly also, that when this mastitis infected cow's milk are produced, you cannot detect through normal eyes or the normal sensors that are there. So we have been designing newer sensors that can detect the quality degradation due to mastitis. So one is to stop it, well-being part of it. The other is to take care of our health, what comes out, and effectively should we be taking or not. Now to take that forward, we also took it, and the first project that I showed is with NDRI Kalyani. So this is in the farm. That's where we are trying out everything to make this happen. This project with DPR, Directorate of Poultry Research in Hyderabad, whereby the broiler chicken, and they have been monitoring with the manual weekly feed intake. You have a body weight, you have a feed conversion ratio, and vaccination, immunity, all of those that they have been already looking into it. However, we also wanted to make sure the way we don't like the bad weather or atmosphere, you know, Delhi and every cities for that matter, we have been monitoring. So our whole idea is even in those cattle area, the poultry areas, can we measure their air qualities? Because they could produce different kind of gases. For example, ammonia or methane, those kind of gases could be much more in those environments, which we might not get in most of the cases. Therefore, additional sensors and an air quality measurement that we developed already, we are taking it forward for the livestock's well-being. So when you look into that, then it can create alerts, but also it can activate fans, bulbs, lights, exhaust, feeders, foggers, so that you know their environment is much better compared to normal conditions when we could not detect. So that is one interesting project, and one project leads to other projects. I can tell you one interesting thing we are currently doing. They give us the problem statement that they have to decide the male and female after birth, and it is a manual process. And it's quite a prolonged process, and every year, every cycle, they have to do it. So we checked it. How can we detect it? So the vocalization, there is a project that we are doing now, vocalization tracking. After a days after birth, 1 day or 2 days, their voices start to change. And so what we do is we allow them, the chicks, to flow through, and effectively at some point there is a situation that they will make a noise without, you know, scaring them. So we have defined it psychologically right, so that, you know, they pass through. As soon as that short clip we get, we can decide whether it is a male or female. Some cases, obviously, it gets mixed up. So if we get for sure it's a male, then we put it in one bucket, female. If we are not sure, then we put it in the third bucket so that manually people can detect that. So like that, interesting projects, and these are AI-driven, machine learning-driven. And I just wanted to show that what we are actually seeing and what is predicted, we monitor throughout, whether it is ozone values, sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, particulate matters, 2.5, 10, all of those environments are also getting measured from there. So this is the second segment I wanted to talk, that livestock and cattle, poultry, and their well-being and the foods produces impact on our body. I wanted to talk now the third part of it, which is, as you know, the machines are starting to be everywhere, and we have this fourth generation, 4G, but getting into the 5G, which has got some connectivity for machines. But as people are researching 6G, and I've got a chance, this is 2021 book that I co-edited along with others in 6G, with Springer, the first 6G book. Effectively, we started on robotics and such kind of machine-type communications. So robotics are going to be playing a big role. So my third segment is effectively on that. This is a project that we are doing in Kashmir. It is with the Sher-e-Kashmir University, and because the apples orchards are there very much. The idea is that, you know, through the apple orchards, could there be a trolley or truck, and this harvester could be roaming around. Now, this is a very complex project, so this is not yet, this is halfway through. What it does is there is a sliding mount. You can see here stepper motor, so that helps in sliding. You have servo motors that helps in the robotic arm joints movement, and then you have a gripper This you need soft gripper, right grippers, because otherwise it can hold the apple too tightly and can spoil. So the right level of gripping is also very, very important. So that's the third part that we look into it. And then we take this trolley, and we have tried it out very recently in Kashmir. Very interesting because it's an image analysis, but why it becomes challenging? Because apples would be too many of them, and many of them would be occluded. So you don't know the front one or the back one and what's the depth estimations. That's where the challenge comes. And do you go full hog? First you pluck the back one, then the front. There could be a lot of miscalculations. One thing that we found is also it goes and plucks it, but it breaks the twigs at the current moment. That is our challenge. But it has to find a right path. It has to go around the twigs and not break it, because once you break the twigs, it's not good for future. So it's not just fundamentally go and pluck and do the damage, but really keep the environment and take it from there. This is what we are growing, and you can see, the whole setup, and there are some components that are not indigenous. We are putting also effort in this whole journey to maximize the indigenization, not 100%, whether it is sensors, whether it is gripper, whether those the arms, robotic arms, that we are starting to build with many startups in that sense. So as we build it, I also wanted to highlight those robotic arms would be also very, very useful for vertical farming. This is not so common here. Many other countries, for example, Israel, where there is less space, Singapore, many other countries are already doing it to produce and become self-sustained. But even out of hobbies, a lot of people in the cities are already doing and moving into these directions. Because it's not just the sunlight that you can get, but also you can create those equivalent artificial lights which falls onto it, and you can create many vegetables that were earlier not thought of in our soil, in our environment, but people are starting to do that. Like lot of lettuce and other things were not there, so common in India, but now it's starting to happen. So when you have that, you also would like to have these robotic arms for plucking, for giving waters, for giving fertilizers, and they are in the rack, so it cannot be handled by the drones. It has to be done by robotic arms because it could be in the shelf inside, right? So that's the other part which we are looking into as an extension. So that's the third part. So I hope I've been able to give you a glimpse of three things. What is the grain quality and the trading, e-trade, e-NAM. The second is on the poultry and the cattle class. How do you make them feel better? And the third with the robotics arm usage. So with that, I could just say the last slide is future of farms, small and smart, the texting cows, which will be there, which if it's not well, one man is sitting there and the data can go SMS or text form. You also have smart tractors, which is GPS controlled steering and optimized route planning. You have the two other things, survey drones. The PM has announced, our Honorable Prime Minister, drone Didis. So they will be looking into surveying the fields, mapping weeds, yield and soil variations. And I'm hoping there will be bot dadas that at some point, like drone Didis, will be coming, who would be looking into agri-bots that tending to crops, weeding out, and fertilizing, harvesting part of it. So with that, I hope you have got a glimpse of future of farms and how we can do grassroots and bottom-up innovations to take things forward for the country. Thank you. And you can connect me on LinkedIn, and here are the details.
So may I request you to just stay on stage? Thank you so much. It was a wonderful session. I now request Mr. K.K. Mahapatra, Head INFOCOM, to come and felicitate our esteemed guest. And now we are all set for our next leadership keynote, Actionable AI. Our keynote speaker this evening is Mr. Harpreet Singh Dhariwal, Director Solution Engineering, MuleSoft India Salesforce. Please put your hands together. A larger round of applause. We've all had a good lunch today.
Thank you. Mic check? Yep. Okay. Please bear with me while I just set up my laptop for 2 seconds. Is this the clicker? Just see. Okay. It's working. So good evening, everyone. I'm just reminded about, I was sitting in the audience yesterday, and there was a very interesting comment which one of the members made. And I just want to tell you a little story about the topic of this presentation and this session. This is not the original topic, right? The original topic, if I were to talk about it, was a mouthful, right? It went something like supercharged agents in an integrated architecture, right? Quite a mouthful. But what I noticed was, and what I heard was that when the session yesterday was going on, there was a little query around, right? What do you think about artificial intelligence? And there was a very interesting comment which someone made. And that comment was that, no, I want AI to be able to do laundry for me, and I want to write poetry, right? That was the comment, right? And I said, well, we speak about AI, but is there something actionable which AI can make today for you? And so for the next 20 minutes, I'm going to talk about this actionable AI and how Agentforce and MuleSoft from Salesforce can come together to make AI a reality for you in terms of being able to deliver certain actions across your enterprise. And before we get started, here's a forward-looking statement. It's very standard for us. Salesforce is a publicly traded company, so please make all your purchasing decisions based upon the products which are available today. Now, one way to understand AI is to really look at it as cumulative waves. You know, the first wave was predictive AI. And predictive AI was all, I think we've all used it for forecasting, for demand planning, using a lot of computing power to understand what's next, right? And it does the job today. It served us well later on. But as we progressed, you had large language models come into picture. You had vector databases. You had a lot of tools being made available. And then you had this advent of generative AI. And you had ChatGPT, and you have copilots which come into the mix. The challenge with copilots is that copilots are built in a very, very if then else kind of a model, so to say a rules driven kind of a model. So it's not really AI in the truest of sense. So what we are actually today going to talk about is the third wave of AI, which is autonomous agents. Can we have agents automatically understanding actions, automatically understanding intent, and delivering on actions within your organization? And that's what we are calling as agentic AI. And I'm sure you would have heard about agentic architecture and agentic AIs a lot. So that's the topic of discussion for today. Now, before I get into what agents are and what a definition of agents is and how we enable that, right, let's look at the business scenario today. If you look at business scenario today, there are two dimensions to it. The first dimension is workforce. And workforce today is sort of burnt out, right? They are doing the same repetitive tasks again and again, stalled productivity, fixed capacity, not changing, burnout. And that's something which is very evident post-COVID, so to say. And the second end of the spectrum is actually customers who demand much more than ever, right? There was a time when customers demanded, They demand much more than ever, and I think part of the reason for that is that you have a Gen Z which is out there, and the experience they get and the instant gratification they get out of something like an Instagram or a Zepto or a Zomato, they want to have the same experience being replicated all across, even enterprises for that matter. So you have two separate dimensions. Workforces are overwhelmed, and you have customers who are very demanding for that matter. So what if you had a workforce which had no limits? You know, a workforce which could work 24/7 along with your human workforce using AI and delivering on tasks no matter the complexity of those tasks. What if you had a workforce which you could actually scale up and down based upon demand as per your requirements for that matter? And that's what Agentforce is actually all about. So let me introduce Agentforce to you. Now, for all of you who've been, for some of you, or rather I would say all of you who've been following us and following Salesforce, this is something which is not new. It's something we introduced a few months back during Dreamforce, right? But let me just sort of refresh it back. What is Agentforce? In summary, Agentforce is where humans with agents drive customer success on the Salesforce platform. Now, what does it mean for you? It means the following things for you. First, it is trusted and secure, built on the #1 trusted and secure platform, which is Salesforce. Second, it is scalable and accurate. You can scale it with no limits, so to say. Third, it is easy to customize with built-in AI. When I say easy to customize, we've deliberately built it in a way that you can actually use generative prompts and simple natural language to actually create agents extremely fast with the help of what we call as Agent Builder. And I will talk about the agentic framework as well in some time. The third is it's Customer 360 integrated. What it means is that across the Salesforce ecosystem and beyond, you will be able to take actions. So it's not only about understanding your intent and then responding to your queries. For example, what is the status of my order? And getting that status and displaying it to you. It's also about, can I automatically, based on the prompt, go and create orders for you? Understand that intent, so to say. Finally, it's built on a unified metadata platform. It's built on Data Cloud, so it combines all the data from across your enterprise and ensures that this is a homogenized data which is out there, and so it is a trusted data across which actions can be taken. It's also built on an open ecosystem, which means that you can extend it using partners, and our partners are already extending it multiple ways, even as we speak, for that matter. In fact, Agentforce is what AI was always meant to be. What it means is, and if I delve a bit deeper into what Agentforce really constitutes is, at the heart of Agentforce is actually Customer 360. What is a Customer 360? Customer 360 platform is all our capabilities. Sales, service, marketing, Tableau, MuleSoft, all brought together so that you can actually act and have actions across these different applications from the Salesforce portfolio. But what we want to do is we want to even extend these capabilities beyond to other applications, and that's where MuleSoft sort of comes into picture, and we'll speak more about that as well. At the heart of Agentforce is actually Data Cloud. And what Data Cloud does is it brings data, or it consolidates and synchronizes data across your enterprise so that you can have a trusted layer of data against which actions can be taken. And finally, you have MuleSoft, which provides the integration capability so that you can not only fetch data from all across your enterprise, but also act upon it as well. Now, I've spoken about the heart and the core of Agentforce. What about the brains? And this is where the reasoning engine called Atlas comes into picture. And Atlas is the reasoning engine which works with Agentforce to make sure that we are able to deliver on the intent and the business objectives you made that particular agent for. What does it mean? And how does it do that, right? So what Atlas does is, first of all, it ensures that it creates a plan, right? And then based on that plan, then it evaluates that particular plan, and based on the evaluation, and it refines that particular plan. And it does it in an iterative fashion so that, and it does it till the time it is sure that it can actually accomplish the task which you've actually given it, right? So that's the first thing it does, creates the plan, refines the plan, and redefines the plan continuously for that matter. The second is that it brings together data across the enterprise and then is also able to action the data with the help of APIs for that matter. So it understands your intent and then decides what structured data and what unstructured data needs to be brought together to take actions to achieve your business objective. And finally, it decides what APIs or systems need to be invoked at the back end to make sure that agent, whatever action you've defined that agent for is actually able to achieve that. But it gets better because Atlas is a reasoning engine which learns. So the more you use Atlas and the more you use agents for that matter, the better it becomes over a period of time through self-learning and through feedback. Now, Agent Force is not just a construct out there from a horizontal perspective, it is built for every industry. And on the board you can actually see that there are these 15 different industries for which we have specific agents which we are creating. So if it's telco, then we have an agent which is specific to telecom, which reduces the wait time with 24/7 support. If it's healthcare, we have ability to match patients to doctors for better care. If it's insurance, you can insure with our agents pay out faster with automated handling and so forth. So it's very industry specific apart from being a framework as well. Now let's take an example and understand the whole framework much better, right? So when we speak about agent, we talk about these 5 different aspects which these agents ought to have. What's the first one? The first one is a role. Every agent has to have a role. And I'm taking the example of a customer care agent for simplicity. What's the role of a customer care agent? It is to assist customers, manage routine inquiries and simple tasks. That's the role which you define. What's the knowledge which is required to have that agent fulfill that particular role, right? So you need order history, you need case history, you need customer profile and preferences, you need FAQs and product info. And remember, this information could be coming from Salesforce ecosystem, but it could well be coming from something which is beyond Salesforce. It could be your order management system, it could be your ERP as well. The third one is actions. Now, you have got the role defined, you've got the knowledge base established, but you need to have actions. What actions should this particular agent actually take? So here are some examples. The agent needs to be able to take answer questions. It needs to be able to manage cases. It needs to be able to manage returns and escalate to human when necessary. So these are the actions. So you've got the role, you've got the knowledge, and you've got the actions. But it's extremely important for this agent to also have guardrails, because that's where AI can go wrong as well. And so you set up these guardrails here. What are these guardrails? These guardrails are what to answer, what is returnable, and when to escalate. And finally, you have the channel where you actually want this particular agent to act against. It's WhatsApp, it's chat, it's email, whatever those channels might be. The key thing here is that whatever I've displayed on the screen is something we enable via simple natural language prompting. So you have something called as an agent builder within the Salesforce ecosystem. And if you go into agent builder, you can actually define all these 5 aspects within that agent builder by just giving simple English language prompts. So you can define the role, you can define the guardrails, you can define the actions, you can define the knowledge for that matter. Right? So all of these things are possible. Now, while Agent Force and Agent Studio enable you to take action within the Salesforce ecosystem, it's also important that you are able to take actions beyond the ecosystem, right? Let's say you want to create an order. You want to have an agent which is able to help you with order information. So it's not only about fetching order information, it's also about creating order, tracking the status, deleting an order, updating an order. So you have all of these order related things. With the help of topic center capability, you can combine all of these elements into a single topic, which you could say as order management. And you could get the agent to consume that order management topic and action those things as well. Now, I spoke about Agent Force, right? And I spoke about how Agent Force can actually help you create agents which you can use within the Salesforce ecosystem. But what we realize is that if you scratch the surface, beneath the surface, there are a lot of other applications within your enterprise, right? In fact, if I go by some statistics which are global, you have every organization, typical organizations would have about 900 plus applications. 72% of these applications are actually disconnected. So if you look beneath the surface, you will see that within your organization, you're not only saving data or storing data within a CRM or Salesforce system, it's also within a lot of other applications which are there. Your ERPs, your core banking systems, insurance systems, your system of records, your system of transactions. So you need to be able to take action against all of these systems for that matter. And so it's extremely important that you enable APIs or you have some mechanism so that APIs can be surfaced, managed, integrations can be created, and those can be consumed by those agents which you actually created. So I spoke about MuleSoft. So in short, what I want to do is I also want to give you a briefer about what Mule is and the value it brings to the table, right? So on the screen, you can see a very, very busy slide for that matter. But if I go through that very quickly, at the base, Mule, if I were to give you a 1 minute kind of a thing, MuleSoft is a hyper automation platform which allows you to integrate, which allows you to automate processes within your organization and allows you to have API management capabilities all brought together as a single unified platform. So what you see on the screen is that a platform which gives you some base capabilities, allows you to deploy applications or integrations anywhere, cloud, hybrid, doesn't matter. It gives you a marketplace where APIs can be utilized and reused and made workable in a very composable fashion. And on top of that, included within the platform is actually a range of integrated development environments. These are low code, no code tools where you can actually do drag and drop to create your integrations and API managements. And finally, apart from low code and pro code, you also have Gen AI capabilities where you can actually just give prompts and get the system to automatically create integration flows for you. Now we are not limited to just only I would say the horizontal part of it. It also comes with its industry accelerators. So if you are in a particular industry and you want to get started very quickly in financial services or manufacturing or retail, you actually have templates which are pre-built which can help you get started in the integration and API management space. And finally, you have a full range of API management capabilities to make sure that whatever integrations you are building, those integrations can be surfaced as APIs, can be secured, policies can be applied, you can have measurement and observability around the entire thing. Now, what do Agentforce and MuleSoft do when they come together, right? So we spoke about how Agentforce can enable actions within the Salesforce ecosystem. If you combine Mule into the picture, these are the 4 things you are actually able to do. The first is you can create and seamlessly package topics. I gave the example of order management. So you can package topics into order management, have it consumed by agents for actions against the ERP. Second, you can connect all of your data to your AI agents, which you've created using Agentforce. Third, you can action anything across any system. You can create an order across an ERP or an order management system. You can fetch the order details. You can do orchestration. You can do complex orchestration across multiple systems for that matter. And finally, you can govern and scale every interaction which is happening with your large language models, with your vector databases, and you can include them into the mix as well. So let's take an example before we end this session, right? So what I will do is I will sort of read from this particular thing, and while I attempt not to look at the screen behind, I think I will have to because the font size is very small. If you look closely on the screen, what you see is on the left-hand side is a little prompt which has been given. Let me read out that prompt for you, which says, which of the stores in the sunshade campaign segment are low on summer sunshades? And this is the response which comes out. Now, how this response got generated is that this is a prompt which was fed into Agentforce. Agentforce comes with its own capabilities like persistent memory, prompt engineering, access to system of records. It creates the prompt, goes to a large language model, fetches the details from there based on the system of records and gives you the response. And if you look at the response, you have the store stock summary which is given to you. It's very useful, of course, right? You get the stock summary for that matter. How can Mule change that for you? Let's look at that. Now, if you have Mule into the mix, what it does is it can actually allow you to interact with more vector databases and more AI engines for that matter. It can help you interact with some topics which we have created, and we spoke about that earlier. And then it can add security policies to the output which is coming out from those LLMs. You can secure those APIs for that matter. And you combine the entire thing, this is the sort of response you get. So what you see is on the right-hand side. What was original was on the left-hand side. And what you see is that the response sort of changed. Because the agent now has access to external systems, which are your system of records or ERPs and external vector databases, it is actually not only able to confirm what is the stock status, it is actually able to suggest an action to you, say, this is the stock status, do you want to ship these particular items to these particular stores? And if you click on confirm, it will start taking those actions, go to your ERP, go to your order management system and start creating those actions and those orders for you. I just want to end this note to say, Agentforce and MuleSoft. Agentforce is powerful by itself, helps you create agents. You bring Mule into the picture, it can actually enable actions across the enterprise for you. Thank you so much, and these are my credentials. If you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, the QR code is there. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. So may I request you to stay on stage while I request Mr. K.K. Mahapatra, Head INFOCOM, to come and felicitate our esteemed guest. A huge round of applause for such an interesting session. Our next panel is going to be a very, very interesting one. So may I request people who are occupying the last row to come in and, enjoy the session from the front row seats. Thank you once again, sir. Give us a minute to set up, please. Are we ready? I would now like to introduce our next CIO panel, Responsible AI for Sustainable Development. Please put your hands together for our esteemed speakers, Sabyasachi Biswas, CEO, Wiki.ai. Krishanjit Roy, VP, BankBazaar.com. Shantanu Bhomik, Head Multi-Service Solutioning, DXC Technology, India. Dr. Sushil Mair, CIO, AIMS. Ms. Zainab Lakrawala, AVP Sales, STT Telemedia, and a huge round of applause for our chairperson and moderator, Harish Agarwal, Managing Partner, Kolkata and East India, ENY. We're looking forward to a wonderful session.
All right, very good afternoon, and fabulous to be back at INFOCOM. I think at least, some of you have been on INFOCOM earlier. Dr. Mehra, I think first time for you at the INFOCOM?
No, this is the second time.
Second time. Anybody here first time? Zainab, you been here earlier?
Yes.
Oh, so everybody's been here in the, fantastic. So, obviously, as everybody knows, I look forward to INFOCOM. I think pretty much the whole city looks forward to INFOCOM because, at least for me, I get to meet a lot of friends from all over, for sure here. But today we've got a very exciting topic to talk about, for responsible for AI, responsible AI for sustainable development. And I think we put together a very robust panel from, technology on the healthcare side to technology on the financial services side to service providers to hyperscalers, and also then industry. So I think we have a, industry as well as, I would say, a potential foundation for responsible AI, So I think we've got a good mix, and I look forward to having a very stimulating conversation. I've got a few questions for the panelists, and without further ado, I'll straight away jump into it. But before I, the only thing I would say is when I was thinking and preparing for this session, I was thinking that responsible AI, what does it mean? It means, is it ethical? Is it safe? What does it mean? Like just before this, we were talking, and we were talking that there's also this ask about regulating AI, and including nobody less than Sam Altman is saying that there is a need to regulate AI. Does regulating mean laws, or does it mean self-regulation? We'll talk through it. There are now countries /EU that have either enacted laws or are in the process of publishing it. EU has enacted. China, Singapore, Korea have published. The US, Canada, Philippines, South Africa, Thailand, they are in the process of proposing. I understand India is also talking about a law, but that itself does not make it responsible. The other thing is, I'm a big buff of science fiction, as some of you have heard me, talk at INFOCOM, you've heard. And, probably 60 years ago, Isaac Asimov, the famous science fiction writer, had designed the laws of robotics. He first started with 3 laws of robotics, and then he added a 0th one to that. I'm going to read them out before we start asking questions. So the first law for the robots, I'm just trying to see if robots is equal to AI as we go. The first law for robots was a robot may not injure a human. The second law for robot was must obey the orders of a human except when it's against the first law. The third law was must protect itself while obeying the first and the second law. So it's in that sequence. And then he went and added a 4th one, which was the 0. He called it 0th, so that basically became the first law. A robot may not harm humanity or by inaction allow humanity to come to harm. So, and I was thinking maybe robotics will be, or this law is a good law, like Isaac Newton's laws, to talk about AI. So with that, I think, Dr. Behra, I'll pick on you first. Particularly because, healthcare, I think, is supposed to be one of the first use cases for effective use of AI. AI has the potential to transform healthcare, including target intervention at not only mass level, but individual level, at lifestyle, at vaccine, at medication level. How do we ensure, as humanity, as mankind, that this technology is used for our benefit, and at the same time avoid other pitfalls that may happen, including cyber attacks or potential biohazards?
Thank you, ABC, to invite me in such a wonderful event. I am Dr. Sushil Meher. I am heading the whole IT department of AIIMS New Delhi. I worked last 32 years in AIIMS New Delhi in the IT department. Last 10 years I am working the AI different projects, but more than 20 years I am teaching AI to the bioinformatics students also. So I have a clear concept on AI, how to use in healthcare. The basic principles of responsible AI is that it's supposed to be fairness, it's supposed to be reliable, it's supposed to be a safety, security, privacy, and inclusive, competitiveness, transparency, and accountability. These are the basic principles if you go for any AI model today's date. Come to the real problems. 1:1900. One doctor, 1900 populations is available in the country right now. As per WHO, it's supposed to be 1:300. So this is the gap we have. Can this gap be filled up to producing more doctors? Just impossible, because you do not have that kind of infrastructure to make more doctors and will available for you. Here the technology will intervene. Definitely today's days, the AI days. Why not AI will help us out to reduce the gap and where to use the AI. So that's why AIMS has started a lot of AI projects. One thing I'm talking about it. We are getting 16,000 patients in a day. Out of 16,000 patients in the OPD, around more than 3,000 patients, they are landed in a wrong department. Means they are losing the time, doctor's time, their time. And when the patient is getting delayed, definitely its complexity will go up. Can it be reduced by the AI? Yes. When they are taking appointments, we have an AI bot which can guide them which department he is supposed to take the appointment. So that 3,000 to it has come down to the 500. So this is the one of the use cases what we have used and what I am explaining you. Second part is that lot of means digital imaging in the healthcare. More than 60% of the cases you need a radiology intervention. And radiology reporting, it is very difficult and very time consuming, and we have a limited manpower. So right now, AI maximum it is being used in digital radiology. So most of the reportings right now it is coming up AI-based reporting. See, once whole body CT scan, it has more than 1,000 episodes of the image. If doctor will make a report, it takes around 40 minutes. When you are using AI to make the reports, it is taking less than 10 minutes. This is the use of AI in healthcare. Now I'm coming to the second part of your questions. When you are making a model, a responsible AI, we're supposed to have a clean data to train the model. To clean the data, you're supposed to have one process, you have to follow it. The data is supposed to be incomplete. Incomplete data is very dangerous. So you're supposed to have complete data. All the data will be properly standardized. It has to be normalized. And applicability, how it will be, that will be tested. Then you have to use the data for the training the model. But that is a very difficult part in the healthcare, because people do not have the much data and data cannot be shared. So unethically, if somebody is doing different, but ethically all the data cannot be shared to the all different domains. So this is the one of the biggest challenge in the healthcare, where the data has been cannot be used for all purpose. Third thing is that today's days, when you are making a model, these models has not been approved or it has been certified by any independent agency. If you talk about any instrument, you talk about it. There is some agencies that he can certify you what is the performance level. But here, those who are giving the any models, they are claiming themselves that this model is for this, and this can be your outputs, and this is your advantage where you can work for it. But when you talk about this model, what is the sample data, what you have used for it, nobody will share with you. It means that any model which has been available, it is a black box for you, and you have to obey the person which is claiming it. This is the one of the main drawbacks, because there is no fairness is there. If we talk about the responsible AI, it's supposed to be fairness and reliability. What reliability they will give it? Third point I'm talking about it. When you use a model, what data you are putting there? If you are putting the garbage in and garbage out. If you give me a wrong data or unclean data, your model, what you are using it, it may be a good model, but the performance will go down. So these are the things which has been really a problem today's days when people are using any AI model in healthcare. Last, what I'm talking about, it is a very successful model in the country we have used. That is ioncology.ai. The objective of this project is that early detection of the breast cancer and ovarian cancer. We have observed that there is 32% of increase of breast cancer and ovarian cancer in the urban area, and 26% it has been increased in the rural area. To catch this one instrument we have developed it is called thermal scanning bra. Because any breast cancer which has to be tested, which has to be examined through mammography. And mammography is not available in the many of the places. So this thermal scanning bra, somebody will use it, then there is 82% of chances is there it will give accurate. And how it is work? It can be used by the Anganwadi worker, and they go to the rural place, they take the clinical informations, and when they will find out that there is some chances of a issue in breast and the ovarian, in that cases, the Anganwadi person will ask them, use this bra and come to me. When he'll go inside, use the bra, he'll come out. In the back side of the bra, there's a cable is there, and that cable will put it in the Anganwadi mobiles, and the image will capture one light-weighted AI, which will scan it, and he'll predict it that you have any malicious tumor or not. It is one of the successful project. Already it is used in the Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Odisha, some part of the Odisha, Haryana, Punjab. So this is coming to the commercial basis very soon in the country. So this is the use cases where AI can be largely used. And third one is the cyber security. Of course, cyber security is a big challenge for the healthcare. If we talk about the statistics, now the maximum vulnerability is coming to the healthcare, not your finance or any other things. So recently I have got through some documents that if you ask somebody to get your account's details, they are charging $1 in the US. But if we talk about anybody's healthcare records, they are charging $1,000. So what is the demand of healthcare records you see it? So right now, many regulatory has come up to protect the healthcare data, but the domain is as such that if we keep the health records so confidentially, it cannot be shared, then when it is required, at that times they cannot be accessed that records. So this is one of the challenge which we are facing it, and the IT administrator also, they are also facing it, that how much data to be open, how much data to be not to be open, and who will access the data, and how the credential will be given to that. That is a big challenge till date, but we have to balance both the things, and I have to go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Meher. I think very, very important key inputs, but we'll come back to you, on the healthcare, because as we understand, healthcare is one of the key consumers or use cases for AI as it takes off. But I'm going to swing to the other angle, and come to Sabyasachi, who's CEO at Wiki.ai. I think, and like we discussed, you are a provider of renewable energy to to the mankind, and at the same time you would also want to use AI to improve your business functions better and better. But my direct question to you is, how does how do you see AI helping with sustainability? And what about its own appetite for energy?
Yeah. So, two questions on,
Two divergent questions.
Yeah, two divergent questions on, two extremes. So, obviously, like any industry, right? The disruption, the innovation happens. I mean, it has to happen, and it's happening. It has happened for other industries, and it is happening in renewable, and it will happen more powered by AI. Whether it's in the manufacturing or generation, transmission, and access to the humanity, right? Let's face the fact today, it is not accessible, renewable energy, green energy. It is not accessible to the human being. Let's take our country. It's not accessible the way it should be to our citizens, right? We have plenty of green resources. We have sunlight, we have water, we have wind. How much of it is being used by the citizens of our country, right? So if I look into the value chain, and I'll go straight, you are a consulting partner. If you look into the value chain, right from sourcing to manufacturing to bringing it to the household in the way it should be, it's not happening. The only way it can happen is through AI, right? Through disruption, changing the way the industry works, and that has happened for every other. You take finance, you take hospitality, if you take travel, all the disruptive innovations have happened powered by AI, right? And that is happening in renewable. I'm very proud to be part of one of the companies. So I can go into multiple use cases. I can tell you that, as I was telling you, Harish, I'm part of the group company, which is one of the largest and pioneer in the green energy, right? So I live inside use cases. I rub shoulders with people who face challenges for which I have answered through AI. So yeah, AI is going to bring that disruptive innovation which will make green energy accessible to the human beings. On the other extreme, as AI is evolving from AI to generative AI to Sam Altman is talking about AGI, which is almost near to what a human being can do, or it's knocking at our door, agentic AI, massive amount of energy is being consumed. Trillions of parameters being processed at a super speed. We talked about it. I go with three things where the balance can be brought in. Number one, it's a powerful tool, AI, but it's a powerful tool in the hand of good people. We have to go with that assumption, right? The Microsoft and the Amazons and the Googles of the world, or when you go to Zainab, she'll talk about it, right? It is in the hands of good people, right? A powerful tool. So, at least as per the data is concerned, nearly all of them are very fast moving towards carbon neutral. That's one. Secondly, they're also evolving the technology. A lot of the algorithms are being optimized. A lot of AI is coming at the edge rather than happening in data centers. AI in my mobile, right? So that is also going to optimize the energy consumption. And the third and the big one is there's a lot of work going on at this point in time in the labs in the way computing is happening, right? Today, computing actually takes massive amount of resources. When the computing happens in our brain doesn't get hot. So there's a lot happening in what is called neuromorphic computing, right? That's what I learned. I heard from professors of big institutes where entire computing is going to change, where yes, massive amount of data processing computing will happen, but the machines won't get hot. So I see that three things which is being done. One is the folks who are consuming it are going carbon neutral. Second is optimization happening at an algorithm level or at the edge level. Third is disruptive innovation happening at the computing. Answers.
No, thank you. I think very, very helpful. But as you were talking and you were talking about some good companies, I'm going to throw a question back to all of you. how do you define good company? East India Company was good for England. Was it good for us? So these companies, all of them are huge behemoths, most of them based in one country. Are they going to colonize us again, the whole world? Because of their access to AI, they'll be able to decide how medicines are made, how financial services run, how education is done. And when we say responsible AI, on what parameters would be, and sorry, this is not for you, it's for everybody. If you want to answer, please answer. On what parameters would we assess? And will they become so huge, that at certain point of time, the British government had to, take over running India. I don't know if you went from bad to worse or good to worse. I don't know what happened. But, there was a company set up which was running, which had huge resources at its control. Is there a risk of these companies becoming one of those? I don't know. If any of you want to answer that question or give your opinion on that, I'll just open it to everybody.
I'll just add, hi, evening everybody, and excited to be part of this panel. My name is Zainab Lakrawala. I represent STT Data Centers, one of the largest data center provider in the country today. And one of the things that I would like to call out, and this is precisely from my industry point of view, right? Not to do with a very general or a holistic view, but very specific to industry. If you look at the data center industry today, we've been multiplying our capacities year after year. Practically every 3 years we're doubling. Today we are about almost 900 megawatt of capacity that we have today. And I must say of that, almost 85% is all the hyperscalers. So in some form or the other, they're dominating the market. And to your question, it's very apt that yes, you will realize that the whole industry is growing because of the growth of hyperscale and cloud players. It was a cloud wave earlier, which has now come to the AI wave. And everybody is riding the wave. The wave is helping us to grow. The wave is helping us to get more job creation done. The wave is helping us to also generate more capacities and become more prominent in the whole ecosystem. But at the same point in time, we're also getting dominated by the big fours in the world. So it's a very fine line to say whether we are dominated or whether we'll be ruled by them. It's the matter of fact that the amount of capacity or the amount of quantity or the volume that they're bringing in, they're definitely in a position wherein they can demand at this point in time. So certainly, while we are happily working with them and enjoying the benefits because of the growth and the positive outcome of it, we don't know what really happens as we go bigger and bigger and they go more stronger and stronger.
Yeah, I have no doubt what Sabyasachi is saying. They're good ethical companies and they do good. But there's this always niggling fear. Power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely.
So
yes,
just to add to what Zainab said, I think it's also a factor of imagination, innovation, and scale, right? So yesterday we were listening to Matthew Griffin's, the way Elon Musk has disrupted 4 industries, right? And the way the satellite telephony take over the Geo, which is one of the largest operator in the world. So in this days and age of skill, innovation, vision, can we really stop some companies or some region from doing what they are doing, unless the others also become as much visionary? It may be a coincidence that things are happening out of that part of the world, but I really don't know, why other parts of the world cannot come up and take that leadership position.
I think you're right in a way that are we held ransom to these countries where they are building everything, so tomorrow they decide to switch it off, will we get impacted or not? So I think that's a very, very important question. Also, what a lot of these companies are doing is that they are kind of building these models in developed countries and then shipping it to these underdeveloped countries and expecting that the same model is going to work for them. And that's why you see so much of biasness in the results and the outcomes. So I think that's a very important question. I don't know an answer for it, but yeah, we are, I think, running the risk of held ransom to these countries. So it's very important that we pick it up and try and do some more work on the same field.
Yeah, because and in my view, a law is not always the answer. The law always comes into play after something goes wrong, and you hold somebody responsible. But if AI becomes so strong and something goes wrong, who do you go and catch? If today there is for example, I started my career being a cyber practitioner. If there's a hacker sitting in North Korea meddling with your computer, you can't even, there's no jurisdictional access to that individual. So likewise, law can only catch somebody within the geographical boundaries of India. If somebody's sitting outside, you can't even deal with it. But as we move forward, we'll deal with it. But I'm in a hurry to move on. So Zainab, since you were the first one to pick up the mic, I'm going to go, come to you first.
No problem.
So Zainab, you're a data center company. You represent a data center company, and data centers are the backbone of AI promulgation development. But as you briefly alluded, they also contribute to energy consumption and carbon emissions. How are data center companies balancing, the growing demand for AI with sustainable practices?
So, yes, and you're right in saying that. We are guzzlers of energy. And, we were discussing right before we got into the room that we almost consume 2% of India's full energy which is getting produced.
Your company consumes 2%
no,
or?
Overall data center.
The hyperscalers.
No, not at all. So, but what is very interesting is we are also very conscious of the fact that we are guzzlers. And that gives us awareness and being thoughtful about how are we doing our business, how sensitive we are towards nature. We have taken, obviously, being net zero is one of our aims, and we will be going net zero by 2030. Having said that, we also want to be carbon neutral as well, right? Now, what we are doing is there are 2 or 3 steps that I would call out in terms of practices that we are following to ensure that we are in hand with Mother Nature. One, our first philosophy is to save what we are actually using, which means that at one point in time, when an equipment was using 1 unit of power, we were burning 1 unit of power to just keep the infrastructure running. This is towards cooling or towards power. So it's a 1:1 ratio. We call it PUE in our terminologies. It's the effectiveness or the power usage effectiveness overall. What we have started doing is we started monitoring, and we have internal targets to bring it down. Plus our new data centers, we're designing it to come down to a level to 1.5. So our designs are coming to the level wherein our PUEs are getting we're just spending half a unit for every unit burn. That's one. That's one way where we are saving, introducing better infrastructure in terms of whenever we're buying equipment, we're buying better star equipment, like what we do in our houses, right? When you buy an air conditioner, you want to go and buy a 5-star AC and not a 3-star. You understand the benefit of that. So that's one way where we're bringing our usage down. The second thing that we're doing is we are tying up and investing in green power. We call it power purchase agreements. Now, these agreements allow us to secure green energy. And today, as we speak, 48% of our data centers is powered by green energy. This is purely green. And our target is actually to go 100% green. That's our ideology. Some of our data centers have already reached there. We are already in few data centers, we are already 100% green. But however,